so many times that it starts to fall apart. I'm like, at one point I'm gonna need to like re-up. I'm gonna need to get another one of the exact same thing so that way it stays fresh. Right?
All these places that are already here. And they moved the pipeline, but they didn't eliminate it, which is what I think.
Bend. Sierra Club helped pay for it, but this is a very expensive thing to do. It's to about $35,000 plus what other groups put in this thing. So we're selling shirts, if you'd like to have a shirt. There's shirts. The Sierra Club also sent me a bunch of no ACP, no MVP buttons, and they're free. They don't cost anything. So they'll be up here on the table to get those. And I want to thank Carolyn Hansley. I couldn't think who. 4 hours sleep about 5 days in a row, it kind of gets you. That's one thing. I'll put these up here. There's buttons and other information up here. This is a personal thing. If you like flower seeds, I grew a bunch of zinnias in my garden last year, and I have put flower seeds. If you want to take some zinnia seeds home from bees, I'll give you a little bottle. I got a little bottle.
Thank you for getting everyone's attention. While we're at this, pause right here. While we wait for the Walk for Appalachia to arrive at this site, I wanted to take an opportunity first to thank everyone who is here today, including our new friends walking along the trail. Thank you. Okay. I also want to thank the organizers who have put this event on now for how many years?
2016.
Since 2016. We had to take a couple years off, obviously, and so it's pretty special for all of us who have attended this event year after year to have everyone back here, to have everyone together in this space. I'm going to turn it over to Kirk Bowers in a second to talk a little bit about that history, what this event means to all of us, and why it's so important for us to all see each other in the same space as we do this important, incredible work, not just protecting the Appalachian Trail, but the communities who live along here and ourselves, right? This is basically what it's all about, is we are working to protect ourselves. We live in the ecosystem. We are not separate from this ecosystem. And the work that we do to protect that ultimately protects us. That's just, to me, really the focus of this year's event. A couple of quick things. Please continue to practice good COVID safety. Please continue to check for ticks. Everybody check for ticks now. while I'm talking. And yeah, just look out for each other while you're out here today. We're gonna kind of just let this day flow. So we do have a couple people that want to deliver, some prepared remarks. At the end of that, I would love to open it up if anybody has events that they are working on or information that they want to get out about what you are doing in your community when you leave here. I want to make sure that we have time and space for that too. So with that,
I want to say something about what you said.
Okay.
He said we didn't do this. It was only 1 year we didn't do it. 2020, terrible year. We did a remote thing, and we asked you all to send us pictures. And y'all sent us pictures, and Jess put together a great slideshow and stuff. So we always have cake. We always have cake. So I picked 10 pictures from that group of pictures that are on this cake. So this cake is from you all. It's from all over the Appalachian Trail. So
absolutely. Thank you, Maury. The virtual event that we had was me and Maury standing on the trail.
I ate cake.
With everyone tuning in from wherever they are. And a lot of folks who are here today traveled a great distance. I want to make sure to recognize that and honor that too. So while we have everyone's attention, I want to introduce you to my friend Kirk Bowers. Kirk is one of the founding creators of this event. Kirk is also one of the founding creators of the Mountain Valley Watch Project, which is people-led effort to protect waters, wetlands, and people from the Mountain Valley Pipeline. We've been out there documenting environmental violations, reporting those, building the case, again, why this project should be stopped. That work is ongoing. If you are interested in plugging into that work while you're here today, please seek me out so I can get you some information on that. But without any further interruptions, Kirk.
Thank you, Russell. My name's Kirk Bowers. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm an Appalachian. Please repeat after me. I am an Appalachian.
I'm an Appalachian.
Thank you. I'm also a resident of Baltimore County, a native son of Roanoke County, Virginia, just down the mountainside. I'm here today to witness my deep spiritual affinity and relationship to my Appalachian roots and the Appalachian Trail. They are intertwined. I'm really a hillbilly in disguise. You wouldn't know it from looking at me, but that's my background. I've hiked many sections of the AT in my life. I was born in the heart of Appalachia, Carter County, Tennessee. It's a very rural county in northeast Tennessee. You won't hear about it because nobody's from there except me. They tell me I'm related to half the county. My ancestors settled that area in 1750. In Carter County, in a rural community called Dennis Cove, the mountains form a giant cove. And I'm going to tell you a few things about my adventures on the AT. And then I'll wind up with just a quick warning about what's happening in the future. This is Dennis Cove. The mountains form a giant cove that was a lake millions of years ago. It's high on top of the Appalachians. During the 1880s, Dennis Cove was settled as a logging camp. Tales passed down tell tales of forests where riders could pass under the trees without any obstructions because the trees were so big. Back then, the only way to reach Dennis Cove was by a railroad track, which ran along a large gorge in the Hampton, Tennessee. It was a narrow gauge track that was used by loggers to carry timber to local sawmills. My mother often told me stories about going to the nearest town to get supplies and go to school, and the nearest town was about 7 miles away. She and her siblings would carry supplies from town to their home in Dennis Cove. Today, the Appalachian Trail runs along those railroad tracks into Dennis Cove, next to Laurel Creek, and the old house that my ancestors built. The land that the AT runs through was originally owned by my family. We sold them the land. We are a part of the history of the AT, and the AT is part of our cultural heritage. I consider myself very fortunate to have experienced growing up. And yes, I was privileged. The AT has been part of my life for 70 years, ever since I was born. In 1955, we moved to Salem, Virginia. As a Boy Scout, we often hiked and camped along the AT. One of the camping trips was on McAfee's Knob in Roanoke County. It was a primitive camping back then, no tents. We didn't have any tents at all. We'd throw our sleeping bags on the ground and hope the bugs would not crawl in. When it was time to sleep, I found a spot next to a big rock that overhung my sleeping spot. When the sun rose in the morning, I woke up to this loud bleating sound. Bah! Bah! And I looked up, and there was a goat looking down on me. He was checking me out. There was actually a wild goat herd there. It's not there anymore, though, unfortunately. So finally, we looked at each other, and he became distracted by a nearby tree. So, but more recently in Albemarle County, I had an encounter with the smiling bear. Yes, smiling bear. I was walking down the AT on Calf Mountain. It was a great day, warm fall day, and the leaves were turning. All of a sudden, there was a loud noise of trees, leaves, and bushes being trampled and crushed. There was a boom, crash, and the noise got louder and louder. I looked down, and there was a huge bear running through the woods. We looked at each other, and he gave me a big, toothy smile. He was grinning ear to ear, or at least I thought he was. Then the noise stopped. It became very quiet, and I could not see the smiling bear. I continued to walk down the trail through a field of large boulders. As I passed a large rock, I could feel something watching me. The hair on my neck was standing up. I looked up, and the bear was standing on a rock above me. But he wasn't smiling this time. In fact, his back was arched. His hair was standing straight up, and he was ready to pounce. So what would you do when you see a bear hanging over top of you? Well, I kept on walking, and I started singing. Yes, row, row, row your feet quickly down the trail. Merrily, merrily, merrily. I think this is a dream. And kept singing as I walked. Well, the bear sadly sat down and watched me depart as I continued to walk and sing in a soothing tone. So remember that next time you see a bear and have an encounter, start singing. It works. Music soothes the savage beast. The Appalachian Trail truly connects the human spirit with nature. I have some pictures of Dennis Cove if you care to see them. If you allow it into your soul, the Appalachian Trail will really connect you with nature. It's my church. It has hallowed grounds, sacred grounds, preserving the majesty of nature for all to enjoy. And it is a symbol of Appalachian culture that runs deep in many people's veins. We must ensure that its natural beauty and cultural heritage will be preserved and enjoyed for centuries to come. Unfortunately, and I'm beginning an initiative in Charlottesville to protect the not the ATC.
We're going to do something with the ATC if I have to.
Yes, I agree. But, you know, we have a huge threat to our democracy, and if we don't have a strong democracy, you know, our AT, the institutions organizations who maintain it and keep it going may not be there any longer. So that's what we're doing in Charlottesville. I'm adding this to my speech today to help you all realize it's really serious now, and we're going to have to do something with this. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it, and have a great trip.
Please do not wait on these warm pizzas that are sitting over here. You can come and get some pizza. My neighbor and friend Rick Shingles, who's also a co-creator of this event as well as a co-creator of the Mountain Valley Watch, took the pizza responsibilities for this event today, and he really wants you to eat these while they are hot. So
Send some travel for you.
That's like the last animated Disney movie that ever was. A couple years ago.
Well, have you got liquid? How about that?
2021, right? So that might have been.
All right.
I think Sarah was.
Higher. And it's good.
Cancel MVP for our future fossil free. Cancel MVP for our future fossil free. Cancel MVP for our future fossil free.
Cancel MVP for our
Future fossil free.
Cancel MVP for our future fossil free.
Cancel MVP for a future fossil free. Cancel MVP for a future fossil free. Cancel MVP. I'm just getting ready.
got a bunch of them?
Yeah. It seems like it stopped somewhere because and it was more like 5 miles, so we're a little late getting here. But it was a beautiful day for walking because there wasn't no sunshine in your eyeballs. It wasn't too hot, not too cold, not raining. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Again, I really want to thank everyone for being here this afternoon. It has turned out to be a beautiful, beautiful day to welcome the Walk for Appalachia's Future. If we can put our hands together one time for them. They are not done yet, so they're going to need all of our support for the remainder of this walk. I do want, because I know some folks will be needing to get on the road, others will be needing to set up camp for tonight, but before we break up, I want to make sure to go through and thank a bunch of people for helping put this on today. I also am terrible at remembering to introduce myself. For those who don't know me, I'm Russell. I am the co-chair of Protect Our Water Heritage Rights Coalition, the Power Coalition, which is one of the organizing groups behind this event. I'm a member of my local grassroots group, Preserve Giles County, some members of whom are gathered here today. If we can put our hands together. Preserve Giles and the groups that make up the Power Coalition were among the first to really sound the alarm about Mountain Valley Pipeline and start organizing people locally, hosting meetings, doing all that work, and they're still doing it, and that's just astounding to me. And so again, to just kind of see the turnout here today and the spirit of this event, a lot of that credit goes to local organizers who just won't quit. We don't quit. I also want to give a special recognition to just a really strong friend, important person to me, Jessica Sims, who has helped put these Appalachian Voices as an organization has been there again every step of the way for us as a coalition, for our grassroots groups, always checking in with local people on what is needed, always trying to get those stories out there and leading so much of this work because they are an organization that really serves to try to protect all these things that we care about. So if you are no longer hungry, please thank the New River Valley chapter of the Sierra Club with shingles. If you're still hungry, that's probably on me, because I'm supposed to be telling them to order more pizzas. But the NRV chapter, again, a key organizing group for this event, and wanted to make sure that people had hot food when they arrived here, so we really appreciate that. I also want to recognize a mentor and colleague of mine who's probably still chasing Ridge. Autumn Crow is here somewhere.
Over there.
West Virginia Rivers Coalition. The work the West Virginia Rivers Coalition has put in on reporting violations. How many hundreds have you submitted, Maury?
237.
237 just that Maury has submitted, working closely with Autumn and the folks at West Virginia Rivers to hold MVP and the people who are supposed to be holding MVP accountable. It's just phenomenal work, and we've learned so much from working with Autumn and the Rivers Coalition. I also want to give a special shout out to Joshua Vanna and Artivism.
He designed the logo on the shirts, by the way.
The Walk for Appalachia logo, and so much of the incredible artistry and creativity and music and just this whole spirit of this movement. Also recognizing that, you know, our particular fight needed to be linked up with other fights everywhere, including the ACP, the now canceled ACP. And so looking forward to many more years of working with Artivism. And I'm going to call on you in a second, because I know you've got some events that you want to shout out. I want to also recognize those members from the third act who are here. Many key organizers on the Walk for Appalachia. Throwing down.
Yes!
For climate justice, for environmental justice.
Do not go gently into the night.
That's right. That's right. Even when someone tells you that, yeah, the event's just a mile and a half up ahead, and you got to keep walking. That's the spirit that they bring. So honored to have them here with us today. Where is Elle? My good friend Elle. Chesapeake Climate Action Network, the Radical Wing. Again, you know, just being able to work in coalition, in partnership with organizations like that that have never let up and keep throwing down with us is really powerful too. Piedmont group of the Sierra Club, our speaker. Thank you. I'm probably forgetting some folks at this point. If you are here from an organization, local, grassroots, or otherwise, and you want to shout out your group, please feel free to do so.
T-R1 Wilderness.
Accountability.
Citizens for all these places. Like he's up here for a few days with us. So there's Hugh. We have BXC people, Ted Glick, and some others. Raise your hand. There's Soledad over here. I'll forget somebody. Jane, what's Jane? Jane, what's real quickly? I'm gonna do something real quickly. We've been playing tribute to a lot of people, and I'm not gonna do that here. But there's a whole lot of people that we need to remember that we're in their shadows. And April Keating passed away 2 years ago on the very day we was on Haddons across the AT, and we need to remember her. Beth Covington, who was a great supporter from Monroe County. A lot of these hand-painted signs you see are hers. She passed away. We got people in Giles County. We'll do that in Newport tomorrow morning. Another thing is we're doing dirt. Nan, are you still here?
I am.
Nan, you want to say something about the importance of dirt?
I want to just hold some space here for those people who have their health through a pandemic. Some of them were sitting in jail. The blockades, the people putting themselves in the way of construction, many of them lasted longer than anybody could ever have imagined. That also took a tremendous amount of community support, people showing up, bringing food, planting gardens, doing whatever it took to support those people who took just incredible risks for themselves and for all of us. And and they don't ordinarily like to be named, so I am not going to do that. But I just wanted to make sure that we also keep them close in mind as we gather here today. We also have some incredible expertise contributions from a lot of people, including soil scientists. So I will turn
Nan,
it
you
over.
can holler for the group. I'm going to ask this young lady who came from Richmond, this is Callie, who's organizing a thing in Richmond on Saturday. Would you dig us some dirt right out of this spot right here and put it in this bucket, because it's coming to Richmond for our tribute. So you dig up some dirt there, Callie.
How are you going to carry this bucket all the way to
No,
Richmond?
Well, we're putting all the dirt together. If you want to do some separate dirt in Newport, we'll do that. All this dirt is being put together. Your dirt can be separate.
How much?
That's enough. I don't want to carry a big bucket of dirt all the way to Richmond. Thank you, Callie.
I think this young man wants to contribute.
You want to take some dirt? You want to take some dirt? You want to take some dirt? Take some dirt. Okay, give me some dirt. Okay, put it in there, Ridge. Okay, thank you, Ridge. Okay, another thing real quick. Dan, talk about dirt.
There's nothing quite like an African sunset unless you're standing next to a broken down car at sunset in Africa. But the sky in Africa has all this dirt in it, and I've already kind of messed up my story. But you know, when we're here and we see these beautiful sunsets and they're orange and they're yellow, that's really all the soil that's been blown up from the Sahara, caught up in the upper atmosphere, reflecting the light. So your airborne soil is what gives you pleasure on those beautiful, colorful sunsets. But what we really have here is soil that's not just dirt from a bucket. We've got soil that have grown from the rocks here. They've taken a long time to weather, and they don't have the nutrients. A lot of traffic. Our soils don't have the nutrients that other places have. After all, we live in old mountains. We need to take care of our soils here because the plants that live here took a long time to be able to live here. We have a lot of aluminum in our soil. It's toxic to a lot of plants. We have a low pH, 5.5 in our soils. That also makes the aluminum more available. So any plants you see here can survive because there's a high aluminum toxicity. So if you bring in all your pretty plants that grow in the Midwest to plant in this right-of-way, they're not gonna live. They can't survive. They haven't got the nutrients. They've got a low pH. They've got aluminum toxicity. It's almost equal to if you were to pour salt on plants until they wilt. That's a saline toxicity. We've got the same thing here. That makes our soils even more special because what they can provide for us is limited. When these soils are disturbed and they wind up in our waterways, that's sediment, that's soil and water. That's soil that could feed us, but now it's dissociated, disaggregated, dispersed in water. If you dredge that muck, you are not going to have soil. You're just going to have stuff that lays there. Muck. It takes a long time for soil structure to develop so that plants and animals can move the air and the water through the soil. It takes thousands of years for the earth to rot, rock enough, actually 1,000 years. The SOL says that it takes 1,000 years to accumulate an inch of soil. And that's kind of folly because if we hold up a net and we catch that soil that's blowing in the air, we'll get an inch in no time. But cosmogenic radiation, rotting rocks, that takes time. And the nutrients, they get washed out first. So our calcium, our magnesium, what's left is our aluminosilicate clays. One of the things about our clays here is we have shrink swell clays. We think of shrink swell clay as being a marine clay sediment, a marine clay that is able to swell when it gets wet, and when it dries out it cracks. Well, one of the problems is you add water and that also makes that clay slippery. And so in this part of the mountains where we've got a very select ecosystem biology, a very select botany that can only live here, it doesn't live everywhere. The endangered species only live here. They need to be protected because they're not going to live anywhere else. And our soils here do all kinds of things when they're undisturbed. They grow plants, they clean our water, they clean our air. But as soon as they get disturbed, they fall apart. It's aluminum silicate. It doesn't have anything holding the soil together. That's why we have high, severe erosion in the mountains. And why in the world Mountain Valley Pipeline ever came down this far? I'll tell you, our government failed us. The Natural Resource Conservation Service listed all of the soils that were going to be intercepted by the Mountain Valley Pipeline, and nobody read the report. Nobody said, oh yeah, these soils fall apart. Nobody said these soils are highly erodible. Oh yeah, wait, you're looking at 85% slope? That's a bad idea to put an explosive pipeline on that. Nobody read the reports. All the stuff we've been sending to FERC, the only people reading that is Mountain Valley Pipeline. Oh yeah, they said we have to go to milepost 35 and fix this slip. So let's go. Fortunately now I think we do have some more people in the FERC that are interested. I think they woke up and found out that we're revolting because there's good reason. Because somebody's taking advantage of good soil. I'll preach it again. Mountain Valley Pipeline has destroyed over 6,000 acres of prime agricultural land. You will never eat from that again. So many things have been allowed to happen. We had prime agricultural land, if you don't know, it's the highest priority land that should be protected in this nation. You cannot live without your soils. And I'm talking real soil, native soil, the stuff under our feet, not the stuff that comes in a bag. And there's no replacing that soil. Once it's disturbed, it stays disturbed. And we've got a mess to clean up with the Mountain Valley Pipeline. When they finally leave here, you and I know it's going to be up to us to clean up that right-of-way. We'll have to plant something that will grow, and it'll have to be something that'll grow on that hot, dry, dead right-of-way. And it's going to have to be watered, and we're going to have to teach our children to take care of this scar. And that's all I can say.
First of all, thank you, Nan. Again, you see the kind of passion that somebody brings to this work. As a scientist, there may be some opportunities for those of you who can only plug in, from where you are through these agencies who have failed us. Mountain Valley Pipeline is going to have to request a certificate extension. We will be organizing folks to submit comments once again in opposition. If you would like to plug into that work and you aren't already, please look at stopmvp.com or stopmvp.org, or go to the POWER website, powhr.org, or any of these organizations that I've mentioned. We will be organizing around resisting this project ever getting another extension. So I just wanted to leave you with that, because that's a call to action right there. We need to continue to press that with these so-called regulators. Secondly, before I forget and before they leave, would you please put your hands together for our musicians today?
I'm Joshua Vanna with Artivism Virginia, and we've got a couple things coming up. I'm going to put these handbills over on this table where you can find other great stuff you want to get from folks you already know who are here. You may recognize these violation signs signifying many of the harms that have been done by MVP around here. What we're going to do with these at Artivism is turn this backside of these into a print that you can see on these handouts featuring our friends Candy Darter, Roanoke Log Perch, Hellbender, and others. And we're going to use those to not only stop Mountain Valley Pipeline. That is a little art and propaganda to stop MVP as we enter the 9th year of resistance here. And we're also going to use that opportunity to show up and support the Poor People's Campaign, the Moral March on Washington, June 18th. We know that, if you've been in this for the long fight, you know that coalition building is the key to getting these big wins. And we want to keep doing that, and we also want to support others across the country, across the region, who are in many parallel long fights. And the more we can support each other, better chance we're all going to have at winning. So I've got, if you want to go to DC, in DC, so if you want that special hot merch that honors your work, and you get to walk around with it on your neck and show it off to people, and people say, "Oh, I love that, where'd you get it?" Come to DC, and we will address how to get these beautiful prints out to other folks later. But Jan Berger from Paper Hand Puppet Intervention in North Carolina helped us make them. And also, there's another save the date. Saturday, July 9th. This is going to be the start of the second Saturday of the month for 4 months. A Circle of Protection at Eastern Montgomery Park in the Elliston area of Montgomery. And this is about protecting what's left, getting community together, healing divisions. It's going to be an hour program, song, moral support, some spoken word, with community fellowship and a meal afterwards. So we'd love it if you join us. Folks down there as well as here, everybody along this 300-mile route needs support. We need to try and show up for each other when we can and have a little fun while we're doing it, like today. So pick up all the information.
Callie is organizing a youth event, which is the final event, I think, of the Walk for Appalachian's Future. Is one of our key organizers behind this whole effort. Callie.
And I live in Richmond, Virginia. I've been working with the group planning the Walk for Appalachia's Future, going to meetings, and I decided to help organize the final event in Richmond on June 4th. And I got together with a couple of my friends, and we decided we're going to have this be youth-led and youth-centering, and we're going to spread the word in schools and put up flyers and find speakers to end. I don't know what I'm saying.
At least she's honest.
What's important to you?
But I feel like I wanted to give an opportunity and room for people in Richmond, Virginia, specifically youth, who don't have that voice all the time, to come and put the climate crisis into art and poetry and however, and whatever form of self-expression they have, because that has helped me.